think there's been a lovelier night. Walking slowly with you hand in hand, it's hard imagining we won't be alright. And if we never see the morn again, I will join the dead without a fight. If you lay me down, never has the saying now never been about the ending of time. Here we are in the 11th hour, finally somehow giving up pride. Looking back from here is not allowed, and since tomorrow can't be found in real life, won't you lay me down tonight? For best or worst, a blessed curse is our fate. But who could have guessed the universe would end up this way? So this perfect evening we'll be leaving nothing to waste. Now is when love and history are made. With only minutes, maybe seconds left, will you press your lips to mine? The beating won't be held within my chest, and all the rest of me is resigned. Though this is the last of all my breaths, it's the best one of my life. Lay me down. Lay me down. Lay me down. You all, thank you so very much. I just can't think of another place on planet Earth that I would rather be than on this patio with all of you. I love this woman and her whole crew. And it just, for me and Jamie, this feels like coming home in so many ways every time we're here. And thank you, Holly and Lisa, for hosting us here tonight. Thank you for the rest of the army of love that created this space for us. And thank you all for being here. I'm Shannon Curtis. Hello. It's so nice to see you. So you know what? I made a promise this earlier this year when we set out on this tour. I made a promise that the show that we were going to be bringing people on this tour this year was going to be an experience of joy. I'm really hard-pressed to think of a better way to kick things off in that direction than starting with a song about the end of the world. Don't you agree? Things are really looking up from here. But we do hope this will be an experience of joy for you in this time and space. And Jamie and I have created this experience. It's made up of stories and songs. Songs mostly drawn from a new record that we put out earlier this year called Both at the Same Time. Have you ever had a both at the same time experience? You know, like this, like where in one hand you've got one idea or emotion or truth. And in the other hand, you've got this other idea or emotion or truth. And they exist simultaneously, but in conflict with each other. You know, that there are some days when you can just find yourself rejoicing in the rapturous beauty of this astonishing planet on which we live. And at the same time, you find yourself weeping for the senseless and cruel ways in which its inhabitants can sometimes treat each other. Or how about when you've experienced that kick in the gut of grief, when somebody that you care about has done something that hurts or disappoints you, and then you realize that that place in your heart where it hurts is the exact same place where you carry a fierce and steadfast love for that person. Or how about when you've noticed how another has figured out how to make some sense of this world for themselves, and even if the way that they do things doesn't look at all like the way you do things, you decide that you can hold the truth of both of them, and maybe even celebrate them because you see that it's brought them some peace, and you know how hard that is to come by sometimes. So there they are, two things in your hands. They're both true. They won't be resolved to each other. You don't have the power to change them, and so you just continue to hold them both at the same time. Did you know that in that way, you are just like light? You see, for centuries, scientists believed that light was emitted as waves. And then Isaac Newton came along and he screwed everything up because he said, actually, light is a particle. And scientists freaked out because a particle is one thing, a wave is an entirely other thing. They are different things. But what if, as Albert Einstein suggested, what if light embodies a dual nature? And that's now what science accepts as true. Light is both a particle and a wave at the same time. And that makes my brain hurt. Because tension is uncomfortable. Conflicting realities are difficult. But you all, what if that's where the light is? What if that's where life is? What if there is even joy to be found in holding both at the same time? And so that's what we're going to explore together here tonight. We're going to go on a journey through some of these dualities, like beauty and pain, like certainty and mystery, and like in this next song, grief and love. Because for you I've sense, and it's not a phrase that I really use, but all I can say is something like hallelujah. This mystery, a love I did not know when I wore someone else's clothes. I lost, I found. We were dancing, me and the unknown. My eyes alight with The world is hard, and the world is ours. My feet have found themselves a place to stand, where the angle of the light makes things make more sense, and it's not a phrase that I really use, but all I can say is something like hallelujah. This vicious trail is lined with layers I've shed as I've climbed it. I see you over on your own mountain peak, looking down at the same beauty as me. Hallelujah. Okay, so up next in our journey, we have insecurity and exhilaration. And I want to share with you this moment from my senior year of college at the University of San Francisco. I was a biology major in college. I was pre-med, thought I was going to be a doctor. I'm not a doctor. But on this very bright spring afternoon, sitting on my twin bed in the apartment that I shared with two other women on 26th and Geary in San Francisco, my very thick and heavy organic chemistry textbook splayed open on the bed in front of me. I was studying for midterms, and I was actually one of those weirdos who sort of liked organic chemistry, and so I was doing pretty well in the class. But then there was this moment into which I can close my eyes right now and place myself all over again. The sun shot through a break in the tree branches outside my western-facing window. And there was this uneasy stillness in the room. And I didn't exactly hear anything, unless your heart can hear things, because if anywhere, that's where I heard this non-voice say,
"You're going to make music."
And I totally froze, because this was not just some distracted daydream or a fleeting thought. This was heavy, and it lingered, and I couldn't deny it. But I have plans.
Kiss them goodbye.
But medical school is a responsible choice.
Doesn't matter.
But what will people think?
They probably won't get it.
Oh, how do I even...
You'll figure it out.
And I didn't tell a soul, because I was so completely and utterly terrified. But I finished that organic chemistry class, took that midterm, graduated, moved back to my hometown of Stockton, California, and I started working as a substitute teacher. But I did not take the MCAT, and I did not apply to medical school because in my heart of hearts, I could not deny the truth of what I'd heard in that moment. And that moment was like 22 years ago. And somehow, in the intervening time, I've figured out how to make a career of making music. But you all, it looks absolutely nothing like what 21-year-old me ever thought it would look like. What I do is wildly non-traditional. And it's actually so much fuller and wider and deeper than I ever could have imagined it would be. And over here in this hand, it's thrilling, it's fulfilling, it's wonderful. And over here in this hand, it is still every bit as terrifying. Every single time I sit down at this piano to write a song, or every time we go to put a new record out into the world, I cross my fingers that people will listen to it, that maybe they'll kind of get it, or like it even a little bit. Every time we reach into our community for support in this community-supported art endeavor that we're engaged in, I question whether, this is probably the time we're gonna fall flat on our faces. It's all over. And every time I sit in front of a group of people to perform, just like we're doing right this moment, I have to just choose, take a deep breath, and just choose to offer myself and what I've prepared for them. It's like saying I love you first. It's scary. But I'm learning that insecurity that I feel and the exhilaration that I feel sort of comes a package deal. And I'm also learning that taking the leap is almost always worth the risk. So this song is a song from our new record about that moment 22 years ago, and also about this moment that we're sharing right now. This is called Beautiful Life. Would you believe me if I told you that a sunbeam tapped my shoulder and she told me what my life would be? She terrified me and she set me free. I've never been so scared in my whole This is a song about leaving and arriving. This is called Coming Home. The truck pulls away from the life we made, and with it all the roots out from the ground. But how could we have stayed? We clearly heard our names carried on the wind over the sound. Tears tumble from my eyes and fall on cheeks turned up in a smile. It's a hard goodbye and glad hello. We're reaching out and letting go, gaining a mountain in trade for the ocean, holding all we were and all will be, looking behind and ahead to possibility. We're always leaving and finding. Coming home, we're coming home. The city recedes along with a part of me, roaming the streets. I love a heartbroken ghost, but there's this open door, a dream we can't ignore. Adventure doesn't wait, you just have to go. Tears might dry up in the time it takes for you to drive over the state line. It's a hard goodbye and glad hello. We're reaching out and letting go, gaining a mountain in trade for the ocean, holding all we were and all will be, looking behind and ahead to possibility. We're always leaving and finding. And coming home, coming home. There is no coming without leaving, and without making there's no finding. Some might say it's all just dreaming. What if there's no such thing as arriving? If there's no coming without leaving, and without making there's no finding. I don't care if it's just dreaming. With you I'm leaving and finding and coming home. We're coming home. We're coming home. We're coming home. Thank you. I want to tell you about two moments from this past year. Moment one. Jamie and I were about halfway through last year's summer house concert tour. We had spent the night in a hotel near Cleveland. We had a long day of driving ahead of us that day, and there were these major thunderstorms in the region which slowed our pace as we drove across northern Ohio, cut off the northwest corner of Pennsylvania, and entered upstate New York. Every once in a while, we'd catch a break from the downpour, and the view out the car window would just crack open into this breathtakingly beautiful scene. The storm clouds stacked up on each other like high rises against a piercing blue sky. The sun shot golden rays in all directions from its place behind the wall of clouds. And the freshly wet grass and late summer trees shone emerald on rolling hills that stretched out as far as the eye could see on either side of the highway. I looked over from the passenger seat where I was sitting to the driver's seat where Jamie was sitting, his blue blocker sunglasses on, cheerfully singing along to something on the stereo, probably David Bowie. And as is typical when he's driving, his right hand resting gently on my left knee. I was in that moment in a tangible, physical sense, which I experienced like a heavy blanket being laid over my body, just overwhelmed with a deep and profound sense of gratitude for this moment of perfect beauty in which I was living. The smile that crept across my face was unstoppable. And sometime later that afternoon, I reached my phone to check in on my friends on Facebook. And one of the first posts I read hit me like a sucker punch to the gut. Our friend Beth had announced that she'd reached the end of her treatment options for stage 4 breast cancer, and she was going to be entering hospice care, and I just cracked wide open. I sunk into my seat, my brain scrambled to try to make sense of the senseless, looming end of this force of a life that was so bright and so essential. All I could manage to do was curse and cry. And there I still sat next to the love of my life, zooming past impossibly green fields and magnificent thunderheads, and it all kept turning, and none of it made any sense. Moment 2. It was a Saturday morning, about 3 months after Jamie and I arrived at our new home in Tacoma, Washington, a truck filled with all of our earthly possessions sitting in the driveway. We had hit the ground running when we got there, peeling up old carpets, shining up old wood floors, scraping and taping and painting and lovingly, painstakingly transforming this old house into our new home. It was an immense amount of work that left our bodies limp and useless at the end of every day. And exactly 30 minutes after we finished the work, the first band to come make a record with Jamie there showed up to live with us for 3 whole weeks and break in our new studio. And so after the band left on this Saturday morning, we had really what was our first opportunity to settle in and explore what our new life in this new place was going to feel like. And with nothing on the schedule for the day, we got to have a long lie-in in bed. And I woke up a little before Jamie did, and in my slow waking state, I recounted all of the work we had done on the house, and I just felt this full-bodied sense of accomplishment. It felt so good. And I remembered the nothing short of miraculous events and acts of loving faith that led us to the opportunity to be there in the first place. And I just felt the wonder of that. I dreamt of all the new treasures we had to explore in our new city, the new music we'd make there, the new experiences we were going to create there together. And I just felt giddy about all of it. And then sometime later that morning, I reached to check in on the happenings of the day. And there I saw her name, April, paired with 3 devastating letters, R.I.P. Another sweet friend was just gone, without much of a warning. She was taken by the same disease that took our friend Beth. And since there's currently no cure for metastatic breast cancer, we all knew this day was coming, but it came way sooner than any of us thought it would, and certainly sooner than it should have. You know, I think that I have myself fooled with some kind of regularity, that I have some of all of this figured out. Then there are days like these days when the incongruity of it, the injustice of it just hits me like a ton of bricks. There is so much beauty, and also there is so much pain.
Beauty and the pain.
2 Christmases ago, I got to write a personal song for our friend April, the same April that I just told you about a moment ago. Personal songs are where people hire me to write a song about their life, or in some cases for somebody that they love. And we actually put out 2 new records this summer, the second of which is called Personal Songs Volume 3. And April's song is the first song on that record. So April had engaged me to write this song for her as a first anniversary gift for her husband, Matt. They received her metastatic diagnosis about 3 months after they were married. So they spent nearly their entire married life with this unwelcome companion of cancer. You all, I learned so much from my sweet friend April. It was her birthday, just a few days before mine. And we recently drove through eastern Tennessee where she lived. And so those hills make me think of her, and I've been thinking about her a lot lately. So I learned a lot from her, even in the process of writing this song for her. When I was interviewing her for the song, she told me with her signature joy and her defiant will to live fully in every moment that despite the constant reality of her diagnosis, she still wanted the dream. She wanted to sit on her front porch and watch the sunset and grow old with her Matt. So this is the song that I wrote for her. Oh, oh, oh. Some moments get frozen in time, like when a broken heart helped me find you, the perfect gentleman, the first time you held my hand, and like our first New Year's kiss, and everyone sings, I still want the dream and the happily ever after, complete with front porch rocking chairs, sunsets and laughter. I still want the dream, the one I didn't know could happen, until you flashed your smile at me, pushing pause on history. And in this golden moment, I still want the dream. Oh, oh, oh. And some days in amber are cast. They harden, but hard times don't last. We set them on a shelf, making room for something else, like this new day with which we are blessed, and everyone left. 'Cause I still want the dream and the happily ever after, complete with front porch rocking chairs, sunsets and laughter. I still want the dream, the one I didn't know could happen, until you flashed your smile at me, pushing pause on history. And in this golden moment, I still want the dream. Oh, I still want the dream. Oh, the miracle is this: the dream has always been this moment that we're in. Let's soak it in. I still want the dream and the happily ever declaring in the wind a true and steadfast love, forged within the cracks of the rust and dirt where we come from. Don't be afraid, just come away, up and away. You and I will live. Hand in hand we'll climb as the earth recedes beneath us. Whenever you get tired, I'll take you on my back. And every day will shine a golden sun to make you glad. Don't be afraid, just come away, up and away. You and I will live in the side of a mountain, overlooking all the troubles below. Here among the clouds, not a single sadness will touch you now. Thank you for coming on that part of the journey with me and remembering my friends. I imagine that some of you might have had somebody that you love with you along that part of the journey too, and thanks for bringing them as well. So with that, we get to turn to a new part of our journey. And I think that I think I've probably given myself away at least a couple times already tonight, that I'm a little bit of a science nerd. Have you picked up on that? So I hope that you will indulge me for just a moment while I talk about a subject that I don't claim to understand, but by which I'm deeply, deeply fascinated. The topic is quantum physics. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Here we go. Perhaps you've heard of the thought experiment dubbed Schrodinger's cat, put forth by Austrian physicist Erwin Schrödinger in 1935. It's an idea that he put forth to poke a hole in the quantum physics principle of superposition. So, what the heck is superposition? Superposition is the quantum principle that says this: if it is possible for a physical system to exist in a variety of configurations, then the most accurate way to describe the general state of that system is that it exists as a simultaneous combination of all of those possibilities at the same time. Super sciencey, right? I love this stuff. Stay with me. So Erwin Schrödinger had a bit of a beef with this idea because while it's interesting to think about like little teeny tiny subatomic particles as existing in multiple states at one time, he thought it was kind of silly if you tried to apply that idea to everyday objects. And so he put forth this thought experiment to illustrate his point. And it goes like this. You put a living cat into a box. And into that same box, you also place something that may or may not kill the cat. It's rough, I know. Moving on, you close up the box, seal it up tight, and as long as that box remains closed and its objects remain unobserved, there's the possibility that the cat is alive And there's the possibility that the cat is dead. So according to quantum theory, the best way to describe the general state of that cat is that it's both alive and dead at the same time. Does your brain hurt yet? Yeah. Okay, well, I got to thinking, what if instead of a cat inside that box, it's the future? Because really the future is as invisible to any of us as that cat sealed up inside of a box, right? We don't know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. And so in that way, perhaps we could call every moment beyond the one that we're living in right this second, Schrodinger's future. Will the future bring about all of my wildest dreams? Or will the future bring about all of my worst fears? Maybe. So according to quantum theory, the best answer to both of those questions is both yes and no at the same time. So here's a song from our new record about, from the perspective of this science nerd and amateur philosopher, and for all of my fellow science nerds and amateur philosophers in the crowd. This is called Perpetually Unopened Box. See that box on my kitchen table? I see it there every morning, there every night. It never opens, just sits there holding all that could go wrong and all that could go right. All that could go right. What else can I do but walk on by? I'll always never know what's inside. What else can I do but live my life? There's always only this moment in time. Every now and then I hear a voice saying, stop what you're doing and come over here. Aren't you curious, worried that in here sits your greatest hope and your greatest fear? It's all inside here. What else can I do but walk on by? I'll always never know what's inside. What else can I do but live my life? There's always only this moment in time. There's only ever this moment in time. There's always only this moment in time. There's only this moment in time. There's only ever this moment in time. There's always only this moment in time. There's only ever this moment in time. Dreams and limbs entangled in a heap of perfect peace. Hopes awake while fear is fast asleep. But morning is a thief. So before the sun crawls in through the shades, before we remember how to be afraid, So before the sun crawls in through the shades, before we remember how to be afraid, before it gets too hard to believe, lay here with me. Before we count up what this will cost, before the present to the past is lost, and all that's left is a faint memory, lay here with me. Space and time have conspired to bring us something good. Could be right, so why don't you and I walk the wire this time? So before the sun crawls in through the shades, before we remember how to be afraid, before it gets too hard to believe, lay here with me. Before we count up what this will cost, before the present to the past is lost, and all that's left is a faint memory, lay here with me. Stay with me. Lay with me. You all, what a joy to be here with you. This is the time of night where I tell you that I have 2 more songs for you. But I'd like to say something else first. I am coming to believe in deeper ways all the time. That for me, it's moments like this when us human beings have gathered together with an intention to share something meaningful with each other. You all, this is the stuff that wakes me up in the morning and keeps me going through the toughest of days. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for the gift of your presence here tonight. It's been such a joy to share this time with you. And I hope that you will come say hello and hang out when music time is over. That's really mine and Jamie's favorite part of what we do, is to get to share handshakes and hugs and stories with people. So please come and find us. He and I are going to be hanging out right inside near the food, and also next to our official, imagine this banner above my head right now, okay, as I explain this. It's our official pop-up store and interactive station for making the world a better place. That's the whole official title. There's a lot going on that I want to tell you about. So first of all, in the pop-up store, we've got these 2 new records we put out this year, both at the same time, and Personal Songs Volume 3. Those are both in there, along with a bunch of other albums that we've released in the last number of years. I've done songs from 4 of those records here tonight. And I bet you that if you want to know what song goes on which record, Jamie will be happy to tell you when you ask him at the table. They're all available on CD if you are a person who still has a place to put a CD in your life. They're also all available on digital download cards if you are a person who likes for your music to be invisible. And we also have several of the records available as vinyl LPs for the really cool kids in the room. I know. They're awesome, right? So there's all forms of music. Take your pick. I also wrote a book this year. It's called the Both at the Same Time Book of Lyrics and Writings, and it's just a deeper dive into some deeper meditations on this idea of holding both at the same time. It's told through some personal stories and the origin stories of each of the songs on the record, and it turned into a beautiful book, so flip through when you visit the table. What else? Oh, there are 2 t-shirts in there, 2 different t-shirt designs. There's more than 2 t-shirts. There's 2 designs of a bunch of t-shirts. Actually, you're gonna have to fight over the 2 t-shirts, just kidding. But there's 2 designs. The first design is our official 2018 North American Tour t-shirt. And it is a diagram of the double slit experiment that proved that light is both a particle and a wave at the same time, and it also happens to be a pretty badass looking design. So we've got a unisex version of that in black with a crew neck, like Lisa is modeling for us here. And there's also a ladies cut that is charcoal gray, and it has a cap sleeve and a fitted cut, and it's very soft and yummy. So there's the one design. The second design is our Armed with Joy design. And here's the deal. We're putting together an army of people to carry a message of joy out into this world that desperately needs it. So we're just gonna need for you to get your uniform and suit up. That's all there is to it. So there's a unisex version of that t-shirt in heathered gray, like Holly's wearing, with the crew neck. Yay, Holly! And there's also a ladies version of that design in it's white with a V-neck. And I know that there are at least 3 ladies here in this room right now who agree with me that that V-neck is all by itself something to be joyful about. Am I right, ladies? Yes. So come on over, find your size, try things on if you want to. It's really like I work at Target at the end of every night folding t-shirts, so go nuts and have fun. What else? Oh, there's a tote bag that says Armed with Joy as well, and you could buy that if you want to. Or we will give you one for free if you purchase any 5 albums from our table tonight. We call that the goodie bag special because it's both good and special. And it comes in a bag. And I really appreciate that you laughed at my corny joke. Thank you. So maybe 5 albums is not quite enough for you. Maybe you want more than that. That is awesome. And if that's the case, I want to draw your attention. Have you seen this beautiful little wooden pendant that I'm wearing tonight? It's got some of the roses from this year's album artwork, silkscreen on the front. And on the back, it has some lyrics. It says, the beauty and the pain, the emptiness, the everything, both at the same time. Then, if you crack it open in the center, it's also a USB hard drive. And this contains my entire catalog of music. So it's everything that I've written and released in the last 12 years of doing this solo music thing that I do. It's all the stuff we have in there, plus a whole bunch of other bonus material, B-sides, stuff we couldn't fit in the tour wagon, a couple of acoustic albums, a couple of live albums, a live concert film is on here. It's 14 hours of musical goodness all together. So if you would like the whole shebang, you will find it right here on this little pendant. There's some stickers in there. They are free. You can have as many as you like. And we accept all major credit cards and Apple Pay. And that, I believe, is all the stuff that's for sale in the store. There's one last thing that I want to tell you about that's in the store that is not for sale, but it is the most important thing in our pop-up store. There's going to be an iPad floating above the center of the table in there, and that's where you can tap in your email address to join our newsletter list. Let me tell you why this is important to us. What Jamie and I do, we call it community-supported art, and what that means is that literally everything we do, from the records we make to the house concerts we do, all of it is done in partnership with a community of people who both like and value what we do and who want to see it continue in the world. So if you find yourself wanting to become part of that community here tonight, first of all, we would absolutely treasure that, and thank you. And secondly, if you just will allow us to stay in touch with you via that newsletter list, it would be a great way to continue and deepen the connection that we've started here. So thanks to those of you who decide to join us. Okay, who's dying to know what's in the interactive station for making the world a better place? Do you want to know? Yeah, okay, real bad. Okay, there's 2 things that I want to tell you about. First thing is this. We think that one of the most important ways that we can make the world a better place and make it look more like the one that we want to live in is to dutifully exercise our right to vote. And so it is our goal that every person here who is eligible to vote or who will be eligible to vote on November 6th, I'm a 17-year-old whose birthday is coming up, this is for you. It's our goal that every person here who is eligible to vote on November 6th will leave here registered to vote and with their voter registration up to date. And here's how we're going to entice you to take care of that bit of personal business here tonight. We're going to entice you, get this, with a sticker. Just like we're all in 2nd grade, all over again. I have mine on the back of my phone here. It says Armed with a Vote. It's based on our Armed with Joy design on the t-shirts in there. And here's how you get one of these little babies. when music time is over, pull out your smartphone or borrow a friend's, or you can borrow mine if you want to, and you go to a website called turbovote.org, and you very quickly, simply fill out your information. You show Jamie the confirmation screen that you'll see at the end, and bam, he will give you a sticker so that you can brag to all of your friends that you are an engaged citizen in this democracy of ours. But what if you're already registered to vote? Good question, good question. You should and can still do the turbo vote thing, and here's why. There are two reasons. Number one, I don't think that California is one of these states, but there are some states who have been taking people off of their voter rolls and they don't even know it. So it's a really good idea to check to make sure you're registered. If you've moved recently, that's a good reason to check it too. So number one, checking is a good idea. Number two, once you're in TurboVote's system, they will do this cool thing where they will send you a friendly, timely email when you've got an election coming up, saying like, hey, guess what? We know you're busy, but you've got an election next week. Here's the stuff you're voting on. Here's where your polling place is. Go get it done. So they're gonna help you to be that engaged citizen that you intend to be. And that's cool, right? So also, TurboVote is nonpartisan. And so I don't really care at all what party you sign up with or with none at all. I just care that you show up because, my goodness, democracy only works if we all show up for it. Am I right, Roseville? Let's hear it. Yeah. That's right. All right, the second thing in our interactive station for making the world a better place is this. I think that making the world out there a better place might actually be something that starts with an inside job in here. In the work that each of us does in our lives to create space for illumination and healing, to cultivate grace and compassion for ourselves and for each other. And I've been wondering about this idea of holding both at the same time. And I've been wondering if it might be something like a spiritual practice, like yoga for the heart, that might usher in more of that grace and compassion, more of that illumination and healing. And so what we have for you inside is a box with some stones in it. And I invite all of you to come to the table and pick out 2 stones for yourself. And there's some silver Sharpie pens in there as well. And perhaps there's a duality that you've been wrestling with in your life lately, or maybe you've heard me say a pair of words here tonight that struck a chord with you. Take your stones and one of those pens and write one of each of those words on your stones. I have here on mine grief and love, because that's something I've been wrestling with lately. And then let them dry, because if you put them in your pocket right away, they will smear. But then put them in your pocket, take them home with you. And sometime in the coming days, pull them out. And put one of them in each hand like this. Feel the weight of both of them there. Maybe you'll close your eyes and slow your breath, but just start to explore what it is that you find while you're holding both at the same time. You know what? I don't know the answer to the question of what it is that you're going to find there. That's going to be for you to discover. But I have this suspicion that it's something more than just a mind trick in observing irony. I think there might be more to be found there. Maybe there's light there. Maybe there's life there. Maybe there's even joy to be found in holding both at the same time. So this is going to be our gift to you as you go. There's one more thing that I want to say before I do these last 2 songs, and it is this. I alluded to it earlier, but for Jamie and for me, coming to this particular house always just feels like a soft place to land. And I pinched myself because we met Holly 3.5 years ago-ish because of a house concert. And now we have this friendship with her and a whole army of people here in her community that we've gotten to know over the years. And like, how awesome is that? I'm just feeling really lucky and grateful about all of that. I'm also just feeling really lucky and grateful that we've gotten to share this time and space with each other. If you're feeling any amount of gratitude for that as well, would you please join me in thanking Lisa and Holly for being our hosts here tonight and creating this moment for us. to forget that you were there for me when I needed some certainty, and you believed it. Oh, you believed it. There's this mystery. Listen, it beckons me. I'm moving on, and I won't forget where you round my neck, dear little girl, with your little hands you clutch the fading flowers, like our life depended on the faith they'd never go bright. There's a picture of you in the locket round my neck. I'm moving on, but I promise not to forget that you were there for me when I needed some certainty, and you believed it. Oh, you believed it. There's this mystery. Listen, it beckons me. I'm moving on, and I won't forget. You brought me this far, and it's no small miracle. But for the next mile, I need some new tools. You got me this far, and for that I thank you, thank you. There's a picture of you in the locket round my neck. I'm moving on. There's a picture of you. I'm moving on, and I won't forget where you round my neck, where you round my neck. There's a picture of you. Y'all, thank you so much. It is a joy to be here, and thank you. Thank you so much for being here with me. This is going to be my last song, and it concludes the journey that we've been on together tonight. And I would like to leave us, as we leave this journey, with this thought. You know, I imagine that as many people as are sitting here in this space together, that there are also that many battles being fought in here. And I just want to acknowledge that. And I also want to acknowledge that the times in which we are all living together often feel really challenging. And there are a lot of battles to be fought out there. But you know, I've been learning something lately about those battles, that while they are serious over here in this hand, both the ones we're fighting in here and out there, those battles are serious, but what I'm learning is that joy can lead the way in the fight. And that there's historical precedent for it. There are centuries of people who were involved in movements working for a world characterized by more justice and more peace, who understood the power of collective joy. And so I want to leave us with this thought here tonight, that yes, the battles are serious, but if what we're fighting for is good, and if we are driven by love, there is no reason at all that we shouldn't already be celebrating. Am I right? Yeah. So let's dance. For a year, I held my breath. hateful seasons.